67 cents. That's what one serving costs. A drink available at any grocery store in America. And a published clinical trial showed it improved insulin sensitivity in just 8 weeks. But before you assume you already know what it is, you probably drink it wrong. Because most people with diabetes consume it at the wrong time in the wrong amount and completely cancel out 90% of the benefit without realizing it. Here's what nobody tells you: the food you eat matters, but the drinks you consume every single day may be doing far more damage to your blood sugar than any meal. I'm gonna rank 7 drinks today, worst to best, based on clinical evidence. Number 7 is one that almost every health-conscious person drinks every morning, thinking it's the smartest choice they make all day. Number 1 is why a man named Robert, 68 years old, a 1C of 8.1, saw his fasting glucose drop from 162 to 118 in 60 days. His doctor called it remarkable. Robert said he only changed 2 things, both of them were in a cup. I'm going to show you exactly what Robert did, why it worked physiologically, and which drinks you need to eliminate starting today. Before we rank anything, I need you to understand something critical that most people miss entirely. When you eat food, even sugary food, your body has some defense mechanisms. There's usually fiber involved. There's chewing, which starts the digestive process. There's the physical structure of the food itself, slowing things down. When you drink something, none of that exists. A liquid enters your stomach and moves to your small intestine in minutes, sometimes seconds. There's no fiber matrix to slow it down, no chewing, no gel formation in your stomach. This means a drink that contains sugar, even natural sugar, can spike your blood glucose 2 to 3 times faster than the same sugar eaten in solid form. But here's where it gets more complex. Some drinks don't contain sugar at all, yet they still affect your blood sugar by triggering insulin secretion, by stimulating cortisol, or by interfering with the hormones that regulate glucose. And some drinks, the ones we'll get to at the top of this list, actually improve your cell's ability to respond to insulin. They don't just avoid the damage, they actively reverse it. Once you understand that mechanism, the rankings will make complete sense. Let's start at the bottom. Number 7, the fruit smoothie. I know how that sounds. People hear fruit smoothie and they think vitamins, antioxidants, energy. The label on the bottle says no added sugar. The influencer on social media is drinking one while doing yoga. And I'm telling you right now, a commercial fruit smoothie is one of the worst things someone with diabetes can drink. When you put fruit in a blender, you do 2 things. You destroy the fiber matrix, the structure that would normally slow glucose absorption, and you concentrate an enormous amount of fructose into a liquid form that your stomach processes in under 15 minutes. A typical 16-ounce store-bought fruit smoothie contains between 40 and 55 grams of sugar. That's the equivalent of 10 to 14 teaspoons of table sugar consumed in the time it takes you to drive to work. And the marketing term no added sugar is technically true and completely misleading. The sugar was already there in the fruit. You didn't add it, but you removed the only thing that was protecting you from it, the fiber. There's another danger nobody explains. Commercial smoothies often include banana, mango, and pineapple, which are the 3 highest glycemic fruits on the planet. Blended together with apple juice as a base, you're essentially drinking a glucose IV drip with a health claim on the label. What to do instead? If you love smoothies, make them at home. Keep fruit to half a cup maximum. Add protein powder, full-fat Greek yogurt, or nut butter, and drink it slowly, over 15 minutes, not 2. That slows the absorption curve significantly. But the smoothie itself? Remove it from your daily routine starting today. Number 6, orange juice. This one is painful for people to hear because orange juice carries decades of healthy breakfast mythology. Fresh squeezed, vitamin C starts your morning right. An 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains 26 grams of sugar, 0 grams of fiber. It hits your bloodstream in under 10 minutes. You know what else contains 26 grams of sugar? A can of Sprite. The glycemic response to orange juice is essentially identical to drinking a soda. The only difference is the vitamins, which you can get from eating an actual orange, which also comes with 3 grams of fiber, a physical structure that slows digestion, and a completely different blood sugar response. I had a patient, Margaret, 72 years old, who had been diabetic for 9 years. Disciplined woman, took her metformin every day, walked 30 minutes every morning, ate salads for lunch, and she drank a large glass of fresh squeezed orange juice every single morning. Her fasting glucose was consistently between 155 and 175. She couldn't understand why. The first thing I asked her to change, replace the juice with a whole orange. 3 weeks later, fasting glucose between 120 and 135. Same medication, same exercise, same diet. One change, 1 cup of liquid replaced with 1 piece of whole fruit. If you're going to consume orange, eat the orange. Every single time. Number 5, diet sodas and drinks sweetened with artificial sweeteners. This ranking surprises people most. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 glycemic index. How could it be a problem? Let me explain what actually happens in your body. When you taste something sweet, even if it contains 0 calories, your brain sends a signal to your pancreas. Sugar is coming, prepare insulin. Your pancreas releases a small amount of insulin in anticipation, but then no glucose arrives. This creates what researchers call the cephalic phase insulin response, a preemptive insulin spike with nothing to act on. And when insulin rises with no glucose to process, 2 things happen. Your blood sugar can actually dip slightly, triggering hunger and cravings. And over time, this pattern disrupts insulin sensitivity. A 2014 study published in Nature found that artificial sweeteners altered gut microbiome composition in ways that caused glucose intolerance in participants who had normal blood sugar before the study. Their blood sugar worsened after regular artificial sweetener consumption. There's also the behavioral trap. People who drink diet soda tend to compensate by eating more. The brain registers the sweet taste, but doesn't receive calories, and hunger increases to compensate. This doesn't mean diet soda causes the same spike as regular soda. But for someone trying to improve insulin sensitivity, it's actively working against you at the hormonal level. Replace it with sparkling water with a slice of lemon. Same refreshing sensation, none of the metabolic interference. Number 4, cow's milk. Now, I want to be precise here because milk is genuinely nutritious, but it's also a source of blood sugar impact that many people with diabetes aren't counting, and that omission can silently sabotage otherwise careful eating. 1 cup of whole milk contains about 12 grams of carbohydrates, primarily as lactose, a naturally occurring sugar. The glycemic index of milk is relatively low, around 31, because the fat content slows absorption. But most people don't drink 1 cup of milk. They add it to coffee, they use it in cereal, they cook with it, and when you add it to a bowl of oatmeal or a cup of coffee with a sugary breakfast, those 12 grams of lactose stack on top of everything else. Here's the key insight. Milk is not a problem when counted. It becomes a problem when it's invisible in your carb tracking. The better options for most people with diabetes: unsweetened almond milk, 1 to 2 grams carbs per cup, unsweetened soy milk, 3 to 4 grams, or unsweetened coconut milk. These reduce the lactose load without sacrificing the creaminess people want in their coffee or oatmeal. If you love whole milk, keep it. Just count it. Number 3, coffee. This is the most complicated ranking on the list because coffee can help your blood sugar or hurt it, depending entirely on 3 variables: how you drink it, when you drink it, and what you add to it. Here's the science on black coffee by itself. Caffeine triggers cortisol release. Cortisol is a stress hormone that signals your liver to release stored glucose into your bloodstream. This is why many people see their fasting blood sugar rise 10 to 20 milligrams per deciliter after their morning coffee, even though they haven't eaten anything. That sounds bad, and for some people, it is. But here's the other side. Long-term, moderate coffee consumption, meaning 2 to 4 cups per day of black or lightly sweetened coffee, is associated with reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. Multiple large studies, including a 2014 meta-analysis of 28 prospective studies, found that each additional cup of coffee per day was associated with a 6% lower risk of type 2 diabetes. The compounds responsible are chlorogenic acids, polyphenols in coffee that improve insulin sensitivity over the long term, even as the acute cortisol response creates short-term glucose variability. So what's the practical rule? Rule 1, drink it black or with unsweetened plant milk. The moment you add sugar, flavored syrup, or sweetened creamer, you've transformed one of the most studied metabolic compounds on the planet into dessert in a cup. Rule 2, don't drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Drink a glass of water first. Eat protein first, then coffee. This buffers the cortisol response and significantly reduces the morning glucose spike. Rule 3. No coffee after 2 p.m. Poor sleep is one of the most destructive forces for blood sugar regulation. One night of poor sleep can reduce insulin sensitivity by 25%. Caffeine that disrupts your sleep costs you far more than the morning cup gives you. Follow those 3 rules, and coffee becomes a net positive. Ignore them, and it's actively working against you. Number 2. Green tea. And I know what some of you are thinking. This is the obvious, healthy pick. The expected choice. The one everyone already knows. You don't know what I'm about to tell you. The active compound in green tea is called EGCG, epigallocatechin galate. It belongs to a class of antioxidants called catechins. And when EGCG enters your bloodstream, it does something that almost no other food compound replicates at the same scale. It activates AMPK, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase, the same master switch I mentioned earlier, the same mechanism that blueberry anthocyanins trigger. When AMPK activates, your cells open their doors to glucose. It moves out of the bloodstream and into muscle cells where it's used for energy. Blood sugar drops, insulin works more efficiently. A meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, analyzing 17 randomized controlled trials, found that green tea consumption significantly reduced fasting blood glucose and HbA1c levels in people with diabetes and prediabetes. Here's the additional mechanism most people don't know. Green tea catechins inhibit intestinal alpha-glucosidase, an enzyme that breaks down complex carbohydrates into glucose. When this enzyme is slowed, glucose absorption from a meal slows with it. It's like putting a speed limiter on your digestion. This is actually the same mechanism as acarbose, a commonly prescribed diabetes medication. Green tea creates a gentler, natural version of this effect with every cup. Now, the cost. A box of 100 green tea bags at Walmart runs between $4 and $6. One serving, 1 cup, costs about 4 cents. 3 cups per day is the dose range studied. Drink it plain, or with a squeeze of lemon, which increases catechin absorption by up to 13 times, according to a Purdue University study. But here's the mistake almost everyone makes: brewing it too hot. Water above 175 degrees Fahrenheit destroys catechins. The ideal temperature is 160 to 175 degrees, just below boiling. Steep for 2 to 3 minutes, not 5. A shorter steep at a lower temperature preserves far more of the active compounds. If you've been drinking green tea and wondering why you're not seeing results, that's probably why. Number 1, and here's where Robert's story comes back. Robert came to me with an A1C of 8.1, fasting glucose regularly above 160. He'd been on metformin for 4 years. Frustrated, felt like nothing he did moved the needle. He made 2 changes. He started drinking green tea every morning, and he started taking 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in a full glass of water 20 minutes before his 2 largest meals of the day. 60 days later, fasting glucose at 118, a 1C down to 7.3. His doctor didn't congratulate him. He asked what he'd changed. Then he looked it up. Here's the fascinating biological mechanism behind why it works. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid. Acetic acid slows gastric emptying, the same mechanism we talked about with avocado. It also inhibits digestive enzymes that break down starch, slowing glucose entry into the bloodstream. But the most important mechanism is what happens at the cellular level. Acetic acid improves GLUT4 translocation in muscle cells, the same glucose transporter that green tea and blueberries activate. Your muscle cells become more efficient at pulling glucose out of your bloodstream and using it for energy. A randomized controlled trial published in Diabetes Care in 2004 found that drinking apple cider vinegar before a high-carbohydrate meal reduced post-meal blood sugar by 19 to 34%, depending on whether participants had insulin resistance or full type 2 diabetes. The insulin-resistant group showed the strongest response. A 2018 study in the Journal of Functional Foods found that consuming apple cider vinegar daily for 8 weeks significantly reduced fasting blood glucose, HbA1c, and total cholesterol in people with type 2 diabetes. And the cost. A 32-ounce bottle of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, the kind with the mother culture, costs between $5 and $7 at Walmart or Target. At 1 tablespoon per dose, twice daily, that bottle lasts over 2 months. Cost per serving, approximately 6 cents and 67 thousandths of a dollar. 67 cents, that's where we started. That's the number. Critical rules for use. Always dilute it. At least 1 tablespoon in 8 to 12 ounces of water. Never drink it straight. The acidity can damage tooth enamel and esophageal tissue. Drink it 15 to 30 minutes before meals, not after. Timing is everything. Use raw, unfiltered ACV with the mother, the cloudy sediment at the bottom. Filtered varieties have reduced acetic acid content. If you take insulin or glucose-lowering medications, monitor your blood sugar closely when starting. The combination can lower glucose significantly. Talk to your doctor. Robert wasn't doing anything exotic. He wasn't eliminating carbs. He wasn't fasting for 18 hours. He added 2 cups to his daily routine at the right times with the right preparation. His endocrinologist reduced his metformin dose 4 months later. Before I give you the protocol, I need you to hear this, because some of you are going to do everything right and still not see results, and it will be because of one of these 4 mistakes. Mistake number 1, drinking anything sweet in the morning on an empty stomach. Your cortisol is naturally highest in the first 30 minutes after waking. Your liver is already releasing stored glucose into your blood. Anything sweet, juice, sweetened coffee, a smoothie, hits an already elevated glucose level with nothing to buffer it. The result is a spike that sets an unstable metabolic tone for the entire day. The fix: water first, always, then protein, then anything else. Mistake number 2, adding sweetener to green tea or ACV water. I see this constantly. People buy green tea, people buy apple cider vinegar, then they add honey, agave, or even just a little sugar because the taste is too strong, and they wonder why nothing is changing. The active compounds in green tea and the acetic acid in ACV are doing a specific job. Adding sugar to them is like taking an aspirin for a headache and then punching yourself in the head immediately after. Drink them plain. Use lemon. That's it. Mistake number 3, drinking ACV without diluting it. This is a health risk, not just an inefficiency. Undiluted apple cider vinegar can erode tooth enamel in weeks of daily use. It can cause esophageal burns. Always in water, always. Mistake number 4, drinking your highest glycemic beverages at the times when your insulin sensitivity is lowest. Most people drink their sweetest drinks, juice, sweetened coffee, lattes, in the morning when cortisol is high and insulin sensitivity is lower. Then they drink water in the afternoon, when insulin sensitivity is actually highest and the metabolic environment is most forgiving. In many cases, we simply have the timing completely backwards. Most people prioritize their treats when the body is least equipped to handle them. The protocol I'm about to give you fixes this. Here's exactly what to do. Start today. Upon waking, 1 12-ounce glass of room temperature water. Nothing else. Before coffee, before tea, before anything. This rehydrates your body, which becomes mildly dehydrated overnight. Dehydration concentrates blood glucose. Even a 2% fluid deficit raises blood sugar measurably. 20 minutes before breakfast, 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar in 8 ounces of water. Drink slowly, over 5 minutes. With or after breakfast, 1 cup of green tea, brewed at 165 degrees Fahrenheit, steeped for 2 to 3 minutes, plain or with lemon. Mid-morning, water, plain, room temperature. Aim for 8 to 12 ounces between breakfast and lunch. 20 minutes before lunch, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and 8 ounces of water. Same protocol as morning. Afternoon, 2nd cup of green tea, same preparation as morning. Evening, water with dinner. No juice, no sweetened beverages. If you want something warm, chamomile or ginger tea, unsweetened, both have mild insulin sensitizing properties. No liquids after 8 p.m. except small glass of water if needed. Nothing caffeinated, nothing sweetened. Starting week 1, just add the morning ACV and the first green tea. Don't change anything else. Week 2, add the pre-lunch ACV. Week 3, add the second green tea. Build it gradually. You're looking for a sustainable lifetime habit, not a 10-day cleanse. Track your fasting blood sugar every morning before eating or drinking anything. By day 5 to 7, you should start seeing a change. By day 30, it should be statistically meaningful. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop one number in the comments right now. Your current fasting blood sugar, whatever it is. I read every single one, and knowing where you're starting tells me exactly what to create next. And if what you learned today about drinks surprised you, if you had no idea that a smoothie labeled no added sugar was affecting your glucose the same way as a soda, I made another video that goes even deeper. It covers the exact mechanism behind why so many people's fasting blood sugar is still elevated in the morning, even when they eat perfectly during the day. It's a pattern that affects over 60% of people with type 2 diabetes, and most of them have never heard of it. I'll link it at the end of this video, and if this was helpful, if it gave you something real to work with today, share it with one person who's been struggling, not your whole contact list. One specific person who you know is fighting this battle. That's how this information actually reaches the people who need it. Stay informed, stay in control,